Hey, what's up guys? It's Art Book Addiction here, and we're here with a new artist journey video. So today, we're going to be talking about the false promise of AI art, okay? So recently, Shadiversity released a video kind of talking about, the advantages of like being an artist and then using AI to kind of like help pretty up your work, right? And it kind of gave me like a different perspective on AI, and not a different perspective, but like AI being used by artists. I mean, it's mainly used by artists anyway, right? And I kind of wanted to get into the weeds of like, how it it's it's fool's gold basically, right? It's the ultimate crutch for artists, okay? It is like it's the cheat code that like in the short term may give you some results that you like, but in the long term will like strip you of your wings when it comes to art, and you'll never be able to achieve the things that you want to with art, okay? It's people may think it's like it's a miracle thing, that it's a fix-all, right? But like at the end of the day, it really isn't, okay? Because art is about getting better, art is about the fundamentals, art is about like improving yourself, okay? And like looking within yourself to learn about what you want to express, what you want to show other people, and getting better and self-improvement and all that stuff, right? So it's not just a like, oh, my art is better, and then I'm better. It's like art has many aspects to it, okay? And when you journey within, okay, that's the real benefit from art, okay? So that you understand yourself better, right? And if an AI is doing the work for you, then you're not really doing the work, okay? Externally or internally, right? So that's what we'll be talking about today. Before we start the video, please hit that like, hit the subscribe, check out my Prince and Patreon if you want to support the channel. Consider becoming a channel member, ring that bell for notification, join that Discord, okay? And with that, let's get into it. So the way I want to approach this, right, is like, normally I bash AI, okay? I'm like a vehement like hater of AI, okay? But in this case, I want to address the younger artists, right? The artists who may not be that good, okay? Maybe you're not younger, maybe you're just not very good, right? And you see AI and you see the allure of it, okay? And you're like, okay, well, what if I make my own work and then I kind of spruce it up with AI, right? Or like, I'm not that good, but I want it to look the way that I think that it looks, right? That's all just, it's all a falsity, it's a farce, okay, right? Because the second you put it through the AI, it changes authorship, okay? Now, authorship is a really important thing when it comes to artists, when it comes to work, right? Like you getting the credit and you doing the work, right? So when you give the work to an AI, right, the AI has now tainted your work, okay? It has now taken what you have and like changed it, okay? So like for younger artists, this is something that you really need to understand, okay? Authorship is everything to an artist, okay? You do the thing, you get credit, okay? Right? Like for professionals, okay? I think it's a big deal for a lot of people that like when you're making a piece of art, okay, that you don't have outside influences, okay? I mean, you do, but like as in like another person, like for instance, okay, like I have a friend, me and him, we paint, we draw and everything, right? I would hesitate to touch his work, okay, right? I would need express permission to like do anything to his piece, okay, right? Like let's say like you have a friend and they have an artwork, and like you're like oh well, like let me draw something, right? Like that would be seen as very like you're completely overstepping your bounds, right? You have no right to touch their work, okay, because it's theirs, right? So take that and apply it to the AI, right? I know you're consenting to putting your work through the AI, right? But the real problem with the touching is the authorship, right? Now that if I touch my friend's work, right, it's not 100% his, okay? It's not 100% his work, and like now it has like, a little bit of me in there, right? So it's like, the question of who influenced the work, who made the work, and it really depends on the level of like, how much you're touching and you're meddling and you're changing things, right? But oftentimes when you have a piece of work, you want it to be yours. You want to have the authorship over it, right? The second you give your work to the AI, it's now the AI that has the authorship over the work, okay, right? That's the main problem, okay? Like maybe not for other people, maybe not for people like who enjoy this kind of work and stuff like that, but for you as an artist, okay, you no longer claim complete authorship over the thing, okay? And maybe that's not important to you. Maybe maybe you're like, oh, whatever, it looks good, that's all I care about, right? And that is a very like cheap mentality, okay? That is a mentality that will not let you go through the journey properly, okay, right? The thing is that like all the artists that you admire, okay, all the artists, all the professionals like Kim Jong-gi, all the masters that you really care about, okay, they did the work, okay, and that is what is admirable about them, okay, right? So I see with with Shad, okay, I'm not saying everybody, okay, like I see that a lot of people who use AI are just people who just can't draw completely, right? And they just use it to produce an image that may please them, you know what I mean? And in that way, it's a little bit like, more harmless, you know what I mean, right? But the harm comes when the person wants the status of an artist, okay? So with Shad, right, I don't really have a problem with him using the AI the way he does. I mean, I do, but it's not that big of a deal, right? But the real problem is that he wants to have the status of being an artist, of being a professional artist, okay? And if you look at the work that he's produced, it's not at a professional standard, okay? Like even with the AI on top, I wouldn't consider it like a professional standard, okay? It just looks really pretty, okay? It just looks really pretty. And he claims that like he's very skilled in a certain way, right? He has like this skill, right? But the second you put AI into it, all your skill is questioned, okay? Right? It immediately invalidates anything that you do, okay? Because now it's like, oh, when I was AI, okay? And what people really want is to break the stigma, okay? Where it's like where AI art is now accepted and embraced by the art community, okay? And what I'm gonna say is that I don't think that it will ever be completely embraced, okay? Because there's the concept of the real and the fake, okay? Right? Nobody wants a fake diamond, okay? Everybody wants a real diamond, okay? And they will use extensive things to search it, like things like what is it called? Cubic zirconium was made to make false diamonds, okay? And once you figure out that it's fake, it loses all value, okay? So you apply that to the art. The second you learn that it's AI, it's like, oh, it's spoiled now, okay? And that's not something that's like, okay, for artists, obviously we feel that way, right? But for non-artists, right, even they know, it's like, oh, it's, you know what I mean? Right? The second they, like, let's say, like, you have a piece of work, and you're like, look what I made, right? And then they're like, whoa, dude, you made that, right? And they're like, yeah, dude. And then and then it's like, how did you make it? It's like, well, I drew it, and then I worked on it really hard, and then I kind of finished it up with the AI, right? And then the second they hear that, they're like, oh, AI, well, that's the reason why it looks good, or that's the reason why it looks the way it does, and it takes away from the work, okay? And then your authorship is now in question. Even if you used AI just for like 1%, just like the tiniest little percentage of it, okay, right? Because AI requires that there is it requires that there is the false perception, okay, right? It is tantamount to cheating, okay, right? Like, let's say, like, oh, you have an all-star player, right, of like MLB or whatever, or some like whatever sport, okay. Let's say, like, oh, you have a athlete that you really admire, okay. Then you learn that they were cheating the whole time, okay, and that their career was built on lies, okay, right? You don't look at the athlete the same way, okay? Same thing happens to an artist, okay, right? If you have an artist, you love their work, they're doing it every day, and you're like, wow, 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 like, I love their production, I love what they make, I love it. The second you find out definitively that the work is made with AI, it really sours it, doesn't it? It really says, oh, AI, right? So, with that being said, okay, like, that's, you need to understand why authorship is so important, right? Authorship is everything to an artist, right? They made it the way they wanted it, and they're in their style and their expression, okay, right? That is the goal, okay? I would prefer a bad drawing that is made with honesty and integrity over a good-looking AI drawing that is made with, insecurity and falseness, okay, right? That's another thing, insecurity, right? I feel like insecurity is what really drives these younger people to doing AI, okay, right? And, like, if you look at Shad's video, you could tell that there's a lot of insecurity in his work and what he's, what he wants to output, okay? When I saw his original drawings, if you look at the beginning of the video that he posted, right? He posts a lot of work, right? That's like, clearly it's amateur work, okay? It's not very complete, okay? But it has a heart to it. It has a soul to it. It has, like, a care given to the work, that there is an appeal to it somewhat, right? And then he puts it through the AI, okay, in the hope to make it look the way that he wants it to look, okay, right? And then you see it, and then you see it afterwards, right? And it has lost all its charm, okay? It now has a kind of uncanny look to it, like, where you're like, oh, like, it's like feels like a mishmash of, like, Photoshop things put together, right? And it doesn't quite have the same feeling that you want it to, okay? Whereas the original, it was easy on the eyes. It's like, oh, look at that. Oh, it's a drawing. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of, normies or people who don't draw will look at it and be like, oh, look at that. Oh, that's cute. They see the new AI thing. They're like, they'll look at it and they'll be like, oh, that's good. But it won't impact them. Okay. It won't leave a lasting memory. You know what I mean? There are shitty drawings that I remember to this day. Like so many, like that I've seen years ago, right? But, like, it wasn't the quality of the work that impacted me. You know what I mean? It was that, like, someone had an idea and a dream, to make this thing, and then they made it, and then they felt proud about it, and then they put it online. You know what I mean? And maybe it didn't have the initial appeal that they originally wanted, okay? But there is an appeal. There is something enjoyable about it, okay? If you look at Deviant, like, whenever I look at DeviantArt, okay, I go in there and I'm like, oh, time to look at some bad drawings, right? But then I end up looking at the drawings and I feel like, and it kind of an endearment to them, right? I'm like, oh, like, if they just did this a little bit and then, like, change that, it'd be decent, Oh, if they did this and then changed a little bit and, like, oh, that would be okay. And then sometimes I see work and I'm like, hey, that's kind of good, like, that's got some potential in it, right? And whenever I see AI, I don't get that feeling, okay, right? Because it's already like to the finish line. You know what I mean? Like, they put the skip button, okay? And you're really hurting yourself if you use the skip button, okay? If you use the AI to get to that thing that you wanted, okay? Right? Because it's so alluring, it's so tempting, right? It's so, and, like, everyone claims, like, oh, this is the future, this is the way it's gonna be, and I don't think so, okay? I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, a really, really good artist, okay, will beat AI every time, okay, because there is the charm, there is the look. When you look at the work, you're like, oh, I feel something. I feel like this endearment. I feel this perspective. I feel like they were trying to impart something on me. Okay, it could be, but and it could be simple, right? And that's another thing. One of the comments pointed down in my previous video that like the problem with AI is that it lacks simplicity. Okay, it makes everything like as hyper realistic as possible, right? When a lot of the beauty of a drawing, of a painting, of an art piece is that it looks deceptively simple. Okay, you look at it and you're like whoa, it's so beautiful and looks so, and yet it looks so simple, right? Like you just, you just breathe it in an afternoon, okay, right? And that's something you never get with AI. AI always looks overly complicated, overly rendered. It all looks like Sakimi Chan artwork, okay, but I would prefer Sakimi over it because she's a legitimate artist, right? Where it's like over rendered, everything's over rendered, overworked, overdone, okay, because it doesn't have the artist's touch to bring it in and say like, hey, this is too much. I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit, right? And like, forget all that. Like, of course, there's all these little like subtle things, right? But at the end of the day, what you're really robbing yourself of is the artist's journey, okay? Like, if you're gonna like walk this journey, okay, and then like walk, like like some of it, and then you're like, okay, well now I'm gonna take a motorcycle to the end of this route, okay, then you'll never be able to walk your like let's say like there's like this point and then this point, right? And you're walking and you're halfway, and then you're like, okay, well, I don't know how to do the rest is too hard, I'm just gonna take a motorcycle and finish it, right? Okay, well then you really didn't walk the whole way, did you? Okay, there's nothing admirable about it. Okay, you did walk halfway, right? But most people are not gonna see that like, dude, you walked halfway. No, they're gonna be like, oh, dude, you cheated. Okay, oh, you didn't walk the entire way. Okay, oh, you decided like that you weren't good enough. Okay, so you subbed in someone else to finish the work. Okay, right? And that's the real problem, okay? Because at the end of the day, what happens if you do this again and again and again, okay? You'll never finish your own work. You'll never see your own drawing potential improve, okay? You will draw the same thing again and again and again, and then you'll use the AI to finish the rest, right? So if you look at Shad's work, okay? If you looked at his work, right? His drawings, they roughly look similar. He has like a certain like, kind of like long body style, whatever, right? Okay, and that's his aesthetic. Okay, it kind of looks like Wink's, right? My friend pointed out it looks like Wink's artwork, right? And the thing is like it doesn't look horrible, right? But clearly it's not as satisfying as he wants it to be. He wants it to look like Jack Kirby. He wants it to look like this really finished product, right? And the thing is I look at it and I'm like, well, you could do that yourself, okay? Like, part of me wants to just take his line work and I'm like, here, listen, dude, you could just paint it yourself. You could just draw it yourself. You could finish it yourself, right? Like, it's like you just really need to all he really needs to do is work on his rendering. You know what I mean? Right? And like I'm seeing it, but then he's like, to him, clearly, it's this huge insecurity, this huge, like, I'm sure it's because his brother draws, and he's like a real artist, you know what I mean? And like, he wants to be like him or some shit. He has I don't know, whatever the fuck. There's some weird jealousy shit going on between them, okay? Right? But clearly, that doesn't matter, okay? None of that really matters, because at the end of the day, like, what really matters is that Shad had his style. He had his work, okay? He had something that he could be proud of, okay? Even if it's not that good, okay? Even if it's not the way he wants it to be, okay? And he could take that. It's like his little machine, okay? His little machine that keeps chugging along, right? And he could take it and keep improving it, keep building it to the point where it could finish the journey on its own by itself, okay, right? And not just that, but like it could get faster and better at rendering and more expressive and like, you know, and like really show character and heart in the work, right? Making the machine, improving it, making it better, faster, stronger, okay, more accurate, better at render, right? Okay, and that takes, you know, that takes time. It takes patience, okay? Patience that a lot of people do not have, okay? Or like they hit a brick wall and they require more academic learning, or they require something, okay? Right? But I'm sure, as many of you know, okay, if you keep drawing, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna improve. It is just a natural part of the thing, right? You know, and you know, of course you'll hit walls, right? But and like there are times where like maybe if you didn't draw, like you draw but then you stop for a long time and then you draw again, and you're like, well, I didn't improve, but it's because it requires dedicated practice, okay, right? But the idea is that you want to be able to build your own machine, your own style, and get it to the finish line, okay, and do that again and again and again, and you'll get faster, it'll get stronger, and then your machine become something that people admire, that people want to have, that they desire, okay? And then what they're gonna do is, like, you know, like some people, they'll like Kim Jong-gi, right? He built this fantastic like ability within himself, okay, and skill, and like, and pushed it beyond, you know, and made this magnificent machine that could be admired by so many people, okay, right? And then someone was like, oh, I'm gonna get the AI to copy that machine, right? And not fully. It's just the kind of the aesthetic of the machine, not necessarily the inner workings of the machine, right? And then it's like, oh, well, now we make a thing, and it's like, and it makes this kind of like warped, like version of Kim Jong-gi's work, right? And clearly, it is no replacement for his work. Clearly, you look at it and you're like, there's something off about that. There's something. It's not the same pristine machine that I saw before. It is a lackluster copycat of it. Okay, right? And that is that how you want your work to be? You know, do you want to be a lackluster copy? No, you want to be Kim Jong-gi. You want to be Rembrandt. Okay, but like the thing is, you don't want to draw exactly like them. Okay, you want to be inspired by many things together, and your work is a culmination of all your inspirations put together, and then with your own style and your own shit. You know what I mean? And your own journey within. You know what I mean? Right? And like and like the bad parts and the good parts and everything, and like that's the journey, man. That's everything put together, and the result is your artwork. Okay? And so when you use AI, you cut out most of that. Okay? You cut out the struggle. You cut, like, in cutting out the struggle, you also cut out your victory. You cut out the satisfaction. Okay? Have you ever played a video game where you turn all the cheats on, right? And then you're like, hey, look, I got all the powers. You blow up a couple cars, you know, you play for like half an hour, and then suddenly the game is boring. Suddenly the game has no meaning to you, right? Because you use the cheat button, okay? Because you use the thing where it's like, well, now I have all the power, but you know, and it really isn't all the power, okay? AI isn't even like as good as like a cool cheat code, right? It's like, but that's a great way to put the analogy, okay? And like you rob yourself of the satisfaction of improvement. You rob yourself of the ability to express yourself in your way 100%, okay? Because the second the AI touches it, the expression changes, okay? And it's not about expression anymore. It's about making things look good, okay? And then you, like I said, you rob yourself of the journey. And then as a result, you rob yourself of self-improvement. You rob yourself of improving your work, and then seeing the improvement reflect upon you as a person and as an expression, right? I remember in the video, he was like telling his brother, he's like, hey, you're pretty good with expression. Your work is more expressive than mine, right? Your work is like it has a lot more character, emotion, and stuff like that, right? But he was arguing that his work like looked good, like better in like anatomy or some shit or whatever, right? Or something like that, and like it really didn't though. Okay, when you see his work and you're like, you see how like conceited he's being about his work. And then you see the work and you're like, that's not that like that's not professional. Okay? Like that like there's no way in any world that that's professional. Okay? I'm sorry. Like and like I can see his brother like growing frustrated because he's probably seen professional work. He knows professional work. He's in the art world, right? And he's like that's not like you're being really arrogant for something that's not that good, right? But the thing is, like, I don't think he would feel the same way if he was just looking at his original drawings. You know what I mean? Right? And he's not saying like, oh, it's professional. Like, it's like understanding where you are, you know, skill wise. You know, it's like, hey, I'm not at a professional level, right? But I'm on my way. I'm on my journey. You know, there's an honesty to it. Okay, there's a lack of falsity. Okay, and when you see Shad and the way he looks at his work and the way he's like interacting with other artists, it's like there's nothing but falsity. There's nothing like a, but I'm like it's like a celebrity who thinks that they're a higher status than they are, right? You know what I mean? And they're like no, I'm a star, you know. It's like never heard of you, dude. You know what I mean? And it's like no, and it's like it's less about the work, it's less about the art, and it's more about projecting an image of yourself that you think is true, but everyone knows and you secretly know is not true. Okay, and that's the real problem with AI. It props you up on a foundation that can disappear immediately the second the word AI is uttered. Okay, right? Falsity. Okay, it's false. It's not true. Art is all about the truth. Okay, whether good or bad. Okay, art is all about expressing a truth. Okay, right, through the image, through something visual. Right, when you use AI, there's nothing but falsity. Okay, it is the core of it becomes false. Okay, and everyone knows it. It's a subtle thing. Okay, it's a subtle thing. You look and you're like, something wrong about that. Okay, something off about that, right? Most people won't care because they'll just look at the appearance and they'll like, oh, that's enough, right? But if you are a real artist, if you're a real creator, right, you'll know that that is not remotely enough. Okay, what really matters is the heart of the art, the heart of the drawing, the soul of the drawing. Okay, and that it express itself, you know, whether whether skillfully or not, that you express yourself in a certain way that the reader or the person who is looking at the thing can absorb and be like, whoa, you know, like that got me. You know what I mean? And you know, if you're not reaching the people, then there's no point to the art. Okay, art is about a communication, right? And if you're using a robot to like finish a sentence, you know, it's like oh, me expressing this idea right now, and then I'm like, and then I speak like this, and then you know, and then it loses all meaning, right? Then you don't feel this heartfelt thing. You don't feel the emotion. You don't feel the expressiveness, right? You know, all the things that he was saying that his brother's better at. It's like that's what art is all about, dude. It's not just about the thing looking good, okay? Even like there are people who are good artists that draw that way, who just draw to make something look good, to draw to impress, okay? And when you draw to just impress, you are looking at art the wrong way, okay? And your work will fall flat, despite you thinking it looks so good. Why don't people like it? You know, because it's not memorable anymore, because it doesn't express anything, it doesn't show anything, okay? And like young artists, I'm telling you, if you're gonna draw, if you're gonna go down this route, do it the proper way, do it the right way, okay? Walk up that mountain and like, you know, even if it's super hard to get across that finish line, you know, just struggle with it. The struggle is the journey. The struggle is part of art, okay? And if you don't struggle, then you're not an artist, okay? I'm sorry. Like I was saying, if you are a younger artist and you're thinking about using AI, I would be very cautious about it, okay? It promises a lot, but in the long run gives very little, okay? The journey is about struggle. The journey is about improvement. The journey is about learning how to express yourself better, how to make the images in your head appear, right, in a way that you are satisfied with, okay? And art is supposed to surprise you, okay? Because you might get a result that you never expected, right? And through the journey, you produce good artwork, and then people look at your work and then they will admire it, okay? But only if you did it the right way, okay? You can't win a triathlon with a motorcycle and expect people to cheer you on, okay? They'll look at you and they'll say that you're a fake, you're a cheat, okay? You're false. You're like the work that you put in is not actually your work, okay? It's the AI. Even if you use for 1% of it, the second they see AI, it's over, okay? Right? So put in the work, put in the time, go on the journey. I know it's scary, okay? I know you're afraid and you want things to look good, but like, imagine the artist that you admire see your work, okay? And like the work that is what you consider not that good versus the work that you finish with AI, okay? I know that if they saw that work, they would like the shittier work. They would like the work that you were honest with and weren't very happy with over the AI finished work. If they see the AI finished work, they're gonna be like, "You're blasphemous, okay? You're using dark magic. You're disgusting, okay? Right?" And then they see the other work. They say like, "Oh, it's innocent. It's still in its like small stages. There's so much potential in this work, right?" So, which way would you want your favorite artist to look at you? Would you rather them look at you with an admiration, with a like, "Oh, look, it's a young person going on the struggle. Like that's the same way I was, right?" Or do you want to see them look at you and go like, "You're a cheat, you're a fake, you're the thing that is destroying our industry," okay? Right? That's for you to decide, okay? All I know is AI, it's a false promise, okay? And a false promise that will ensure that you'll never be an artist, okay? And that you, at the end of the day, are just an assistant to the AI, okay? The AI is the real artist here, okay? In that case, real artist, you know what I mean, right? I think we could end the video here, guys. Please, if you enjoyed that video, hit that like, hit that subscribe, check out my Prince and Patreon if you want to support the channel. Consider becoming a channel member. Ring the bell for notification. Join the Discord. All that bullshit. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot.